You're listening to Winnipeg's Classic 107. My name is Simon Rusnak. Head north to the Klondike with the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra as they accompany the Little Tramp trying to strike it rich. Charlie Chaplin's The Gold Rush screens tomorrow night at the Centennial Concert Hall. And to hear a little bit more about it, I'm joined by Maestro Julian Pelicano. Hey, Julian, great to see you.
Simon, thanks for having me on, as usual.
It's always great to have you. You bring so much knowledge, and the formal concert season has come to a close. But one last chance to catch the WSO at the Centennial Concert Hall before the summer season. A little bit of movie magic, starring one of the most iconic individuals of the silent film era, Charlie Chaplin. Tell us about this 1925 film, The Gold Rush.
Well, this is the third full-length Chaplin film I've conducted. And it's really fun. It's a really great film. As with all of the Chaplin films that were made in the 20s, they were originally made completely silent without any music attached to them. And then after the 1930s, Chaplin actually composed music to go along with his films once the technology existed for that to actually happen. And once the films were re-released with the music, it was obviously a different experience than seeing them silent in the theater. But what we have here performing with the Winnipeg Symphony on Friday night is the original 1925 edit with the music that Chaplin added in the 1940s. And there is a 1942 version of this film that's cut and has narration by Charlie Chaplin. That is not what we're doing. This is the uncut, complete original version from 1925 with all of the music composed by Charlie Chaplin.
You know, I want to unpack a couple of things that you just said, but it's good to distinguish because many of his films were re-released and adapted and recut and all of that. But you mentioned this is a score that was done by Charlie Chaplin. And I mean, of course, he's known for his incredible work as an actor, but he really did do it all. He didn't just star in the films. He also directed, produced, wrote them. And like you say, he even scored them too. And I think he had no musical training or something like that. You've done 3 Chaplin films now. How would you characterize his music, the music that he's written for these films?
Well, that's right. I mean, he didn't actually read music as far as I know.
Yeah.
But he relied on orchestrators and other people to take the music that he was composing by ear, essentially, and then create an orchestral score. So he didn't do it all alone. But the music is really interesting. It's very of its day. It feels and sounds like the 1920s. And there are, little bits of, probably little popular tunes in there, and things that, have been lost to time, with the exception of the waltz from Tchaikovsky's Sleeping Beauty makes a very conspicuous appearance in this film.
That's got to hit home as a conductor of that tune. I think a few times over at this point, eh?
Right. Yes. So, but the music really, it's fascinating how even for a silent film, the music really goes along with the action very carefully. He really, like you would do in an opera or in a ballet, he really was careful to try to shade the action on screen with the appropriate music. Even sometimes the music just fluctuates slightly in tempo and you have to synchronize that to an emotion or a feeling or a camera angle that's happening on the screen. So there's really a lot involved in Chaplin composing the music and also our job, which is to perform the music and actually synchronize it.
Yeah, it really is like a choreographed production that way, which is something that very, very well. One last thing, I'm curious about the score and the music. I mean, as you mentioned, Chaplin of the silent film era. I mean, this isn't a talkie, right? It's a silent film. Does that give a sort of heightened importance to the score and what's going on the screen? Do you think?
Yeah, I think it does. It's funny because if in any film, even if there is talking and sound effects, I've done this experiment several times where just because I have access to the kind of files you would need to do this, where if you watch almost any scene from a movie and just remove the music, especially an action shot, for example, in an action scene, it's just utterly ridiculous to us. And it's the same. It's the same here. I mean, it's the music is an integral part of the film. In the 1920s, they would have had a pianist or an organist in a theater with some themes, some basic musical themes, but that person would have been responsible to improvise a score that goes along with the movie while they're watching it. And it can't be stressed enough how that's an integral part of the film itself. Without the music, the film is not the same film. Um, so yeah, and the way that we're doing it, as we've probably talked about with some of my other film projects, there's various ways to synchronize a film, but this one truly is like a choreography. There is nothing. There is no special technology coming from Hollywood to synchronize this. It is all 100% based on visual cues off of the film and a few of my own tricks. Let's just put it that way.
I won't get you to reveal those tricks because, you are like a magician up there, and magicians never reveal their tricks. But I have, because I have in the past sat up in the upper balconies for instance, the Harry Potter play-alongs when it's a packed house, and you can see the little iPad or something like that shows the click track, it beats you in kind of thing. And there's none of that this time around then. It is entirely following what's on the screen above you or in front of you, right?
That's right. That the system that we use for modern movies is the same system they use in Hollywood recording studios when they record the music. This is just the movie, and there's some basic ideas written in the musical score about what's happening on the screen, kind of when the music's going on. But to be honest, to really synchronize it, and there are a lot of very specific synchronized sound effects and spots in this film that just have to be absolutely right on. To really synchronize it, you need more than that. And those are the hours and hours that one spends when you approach conducting a silent film like this. In order to get it right, it takes that little bit of knowledge on what's going to be important to get visually in order for you to have it be absolutely synchronized.
This is really something I guess the last thing I really want to ask you is, this is something that you're becoming known for. I mean, like, it's not an easy task to lead a live orchestra while the screen is playing the movie, because they're not going to stop the movie if something happens, right? I mean, this is a certain skill set, and you're drawing on that skill set to really make this particular film happen. I guess the last thing I want to ask you is, I mean, we've talked about this before, but what is it that you enjoy most about this whole leading a live orchestra while the film is playing? Is it the thrill of it? Are you a movie buff yourself and you're indulging that curiosity and that passion? What drives you with these things, Julian?
Well, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't thrilling. The challenge of it, for sure. The adrenaline, definitely. There's a part of that maybe I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie. I don't know if that's but definitely when you have to get it right, you have to get it right. And so there's some pressure there, and I kind of like that. But really what it is the theater of it. It's a very similar feeling to when I'm working with dancers in the ballet. Mm-hmm. That what I'm concerned with is obviously the music, but on top of that, it's the full production. And with a film, it's the same. You do all of that work, not just to get the music right and have it sound great, but to create an effect that is only possible when you are marrying music with an image, or music with something that's happening on the stage. And in this case, it's a film by Charlie Chaplin. And that's the most important thing. And that's what I love about it.
And people are going to have one chance to check it out on Friday. All sorts of humor and hijinks and tenderness that the Little Tramp always brings. Julian, thanks for telling us a little bit more about the Gold Rush and the score that accompanies this Charlie Chaplin film. Have a great one on Friday.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
And we've got more details up at classic107.com under the events tab, or head to wso.ca for more details and tickets. The concert begins at 7:30 p.m., the Centennial Concert Hall. And again, this is the last chance to catch the WSO in the concert hall ahead of the summer season. And Julian, we'll probably have to have you back on to chat about some of the many events that are going on through the summer months. You're going to be busy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it always is.
Until then, take care, and thanks for taking the time.
Thanks.